I may be completely flaccid for a month and unsatisfied due to what happened with the Steam Deck. Thank you, Gabe. Thank you, Valve.
I just want.
Well, it happened. ReviewTechUSA is crashing out about the Steam Deck price hike. This is someone who spent the past year assuring us that the Switch 2 would have a serious price hike and Nintendo would be struggling and Nintendo fans would be seething. And yet here he is freaking out about the Steam Deck being a complete disaster. And he low-key admits that it's a disaster in this video, even while he tries to justify and cope about the handheld gaming PC market that he's been shilling for the past 5 years. The reality is, and this is something he does not address in this video, the reality is the Nintendo Switch 2 has won, that there is no reason to ever own a handheld gaming PC. And this kind of situation is going to become increasingly common with all handheld gaming PCs going forward. But good luck getting ReviewTechUSA to admit that. So let's take a look at his video and watch him crash out.
Just wanted some sauce on those zingers. Skip it up and that up.
So this is going to be like a random rant. I mean, I have like notes and stuff here. I did watch some of Moore's Law is Dead video. But this is regarding what happened with the Steam Deck. How it makes me fearful for the tech industry, not just gaming, and how essentially Valve may have screwed over the Steam machine. Even okay, I get it. The Steam Deck sold out. I have a conspiracy theory around that. That's like probably a 3% chance, and you're probably going to think I'm an idiot. But maybe it was a PR move that they took it off the shelves, the e-shelves, and it was a way to kind of save face because they saw the backlash from the community.
No, Rich, that is exactly what I thought happened. Valve announced the price hike, immediately pulled the Steam Deck off of shelves to create the illusion that people were still buying it, and then they were going to just put them back on when the backlash subsides, okay? They didn't want people realizing how badly the Steam Deck is actually selling. And it was selling very poorly even before this situation.
And on top of it, too, I'll get into this later. If you bought especially the $950 Steam Deck, you're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot. If it was actually sold out and you're one of the people that bought them, you absolutely wasted your money. You wasted like $300 worth of your money. You could have gotten something 10 times. All right, I'm just going to say it now. You could have got something 10 times better.
Yeah, you could have gotten a Nintendo Switch 2. Who is he trying to fool? Like, this is hilarious, okay? This is amazing. How he's crashing out over the price hike. How he's so upset at this. Like, oh man, they raised it $300. It's not worth the money now. When in actuality, it was never worth the money. It was never any good. It was never worth owning. And yet, ReviewTechUSA and people like him have been trying to tell you that these kinds of handheld gaming PCs are the future. These things have had a ton of technical problems over the years that make owning one just completely undesirable. Not only are they expensive, but there are just so many better alternative like consoles out there, particularly Nintendo consoles, that just make this kind of thing completely pointless. Like, yeah, I do think you're better off getting a PlayStation or an Xbox. You know, I do think you're better off with a PC. I do think you're better off with a Nintendo Switch. Like, what niche is this kind of thing meant to fulfill?
In terms of performance, anyway. You could have gotten the Xbox Ally X.
Wait, what? The Xbox Ally X? The handheld gaming PC that is more expensive than the Steam Deck? Typical RTU. Like, instead of actually being smart with money and, you know, actually examining the technology, he just kind of assumes that a higher price tag makes the thing more powerful. Like, well, this thing costs $500 and this costs $900, so the $900 console must be more powerful. That's his mindset. That's legit what he's arguing, is that just because the ROG Ally is more expensive, that means it's better. And keep in mind, he's saying this while crashing out about the Steam Deck getting a price hike,
which has the Z2 Extreme in it. And the Z2 Extreme, I have the Ryzen AI HX 370 APU, and that has the 890M Radeon graphics. It's Radeon 3, it's 16 compute units of Radeon 3.5. That's the same exact GPU, that 890M, they may not call it that. That's inside of the Xbox Ally X, which they say goes toe-to-toe with the Xbox Series S. In a handheld, kind of a handheld, but you get my point. And it's $50 more than the 1 terabyte OLED Steam Deck. Why? Do not buy the Steam Deck over that. I promise you. You know what? Buy that. If you really want to just have SteamOS or Bazite or whatever, buy that. Put SteamOS on it.
Wait. Let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. He's crashing out over the Steam Deck getting a price hike and telling you to get an Xbox Ally X at a higher price point, and then immediately turning around and installing SteamOS on it anyway. What is that supposed to solve? What is that supposed to solve? How is this getting back at Valve? How is this protecting your interests? Valve already backstabbed you once. They already proved their incompetence once, and yet you're admitting, due to your Valve fanboyism, that you would rather play SteamOS on your Ally X as opposed to simply, using the native operating system. I don't know how the Ally X works. I think it has the Microsoft store on it or something. But ReviewTechUSA, this doesn't fix any of the problems. You're paying more money for an identical experience. It doesn't make any sense.
Put Bazite on it. Actually, I would say it's smarter to put Bazite on it. I told you this video is going to be all over the place. All right, so flick my nipples and call me Bill Gates while you stare into my eyes. What were the price increases for the Steam Deck models? The 512 gigabyte OLED model is $789, and the 1 terabyte OLED model is now $950. Keep in mind that this model used to be $549, and the 1 terabyte model used to be $649, which you could somewhat recommend them at that price point. Now there's better options for around the same price. Now, Moore's Law is dead said something interesting, is that a lot of this has to do with Valve's incompetence, how they probably didn't negotiate prices for components properly. And he gave the example of the Xbox Ally X being significantly more powerful and barely more expensive now than the higher end Steam Deck OLED model. And it's actually a lower volume product that's not moving as many units as the Steam Deck is. And now let's say we could take that the Steam Deck is actually sold out again. People don't care about the price hike, which why don't you?
Okay, this is the really weird thing about this situation. And I noticed Nintendo doing this too. You keep seeing people insist that nobody cares about the Steam Deck getting a price hike while they're seething about it, right? ReviewTechUSA is still sitting there trying to tell us that the Steam Deck has sold out and that people are still buying it at the inflated prices. And that's very clearly not actually true if you look at it even a little bit. But these guys can't bring themselves to admit that Valve's hardware is not successful, that it's not very good, that it's not moving units, and as we've seen in this situation, is highly susceptible to unexpected price hikes. I believe this might be the biggest price hike we've seen out of any video game hardware over the past 5 years. And it's just kind of shocking considering these were the kind of people who were spurging out about the Switch 2 getting a price hike and how that would supposedly like ruin the console and how that would supposedly like screw over Nintendo. But like Nintendo seemed to have all their ducks in a row and were like pretty heavily prepared for this, honestly. But meanwhile, Review Tech USA, even at this stage, is still making excuses to try and damage control this situation. He is still, to a certain extent, trying to protect Valve, trying to pretend that SteamOS is relevant, trying to tell you to buy like third-party hardware and then like install Steam on it to play your Steam games on it. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Why don't you get the Xbox Ally X? I have not tried one. I am not sponsored by anybody, but just get that then. If you don't want to use Microsoft's OS or you're not interested, go install Bazite, and there you go. You have a much more powerful Steam Deck. I actually have a GPD Win Mini from 2025. I think I got the name right. It actually has a chip that's somewhat similar to the Z2 Extreme. However, it has 4 more cores. It's the Ryzen AI HX 370, and it has an 890M in there. I know how that chip performs, and it performs a hell of a lot better than the Steam Deck chip, which is Zen 2 cores, 4 cores, 8 threads. It's not even quad core, and it's 8 RDNA 2 graphics cores. It can't hold a candle to the Xbox Ally X. And if you want the benefits of Linux and SteamOS, put it on there. Why you don't even dual boot if you don't want to. I don't even dual boot anymore. Actually, I've never dual boot. What am I talking about? But if I did, I would stop doing it. What the hell am I talking about? Because I just play games in Steam now anyway.
I'm not an expert on this kind of thing, but like, is he high? Because he's not making his point clear. He's like going off on all these weird tangents. I have no idea what he's talking about half the time. Like, it just feels like he's high because like nothing he's saying makes any sense. Like, I just get the impression that like he's just completely stoned out of his mind while he's making this video. And I don't know. I'm not an expert on this kind of thing. I need some a professional opinion. So please let me know in the comments if you think he's on something.
All right, let's bring this back home to, at least to me, who knows if they actually sold out of the Steam Deck again at these astronomical prices. I may be in the minority here, but the Steam machine to me is dead.
No, Rich. The Steam machine was dead from the moment it was announced. You know, people have been hearing rumors about the price point for that thing for forever. And, you know, when I last heard it was going to be around $1,000 or so for a console, basically. Like, there's no purpose for these consoles to exist, essentially. They don't really do anything better than their direct competition on PlayStation or Xbox, right? Like, what exactly is the Steam machine going to do that the PlayStation and Xbox can't do better? And that's just been the reality of it from the onset. Like, nobody actually seriously believed that the Steam machine would do well.
Now, what may make me pick it up, that I know that sounds like, Rich, you're contradicting yourself in 5 minutes, but I still think it may hurt the Steam machine, is if Valve, because I heard there's some rumors of this, I think I mentioned it in my video yesterday, that Valve may sell the Steam machine at a loss because they'll get the return back on people buying games in their Steam OS, and they get a cut of all the games that are sold in Steam. So they might be taking that risk, but take that with a grain of salt. I have not verified it. It's just something that I've heard.
So they're going to do what Nintendo does? Is that what you're saying? Oh, yes, we're going to own our own ecosystem and we're going to take a cut of every game that's sold on our platform. Like, that's what Nintendo does, Rich. That's what Nintendo does.
But my question to Valve is this. Are you going to keep those prices on the Steam Deck that came out in February of 2022? And then you're going to take a loss on the Steam machine to make it more competitive, and you're going to have this newer piece of tech that's a custom made piece of tech. Yeah, it has a Radeon stuff in it, but you get my point. You're going to have it. It's going to be more advanced. It's going to be more capable. It's going to be newer tech that's obviously more expensive, but you're going to have that cheaper than the Steam Deck, which the LCD version came out originally in 2022.
Wait a minute. What is this autism? So wait. You're telling me that ReviewTechUSA believes that the Steam machine is going to launch at a lower price point than the 4-year-old Steam Deck. Is that correct? Like, he thinks that Valve is going to slash the price of the Steam machine so much that it's going to be lower than the hardware that they're already selling. Like that's insane. That doesn't make any sense, Rich. That does not make any sense at all.
Maybe it'll fly out of the electronic shelves as well. But if it is sold at a loss, I'll buy it. But if Valve has the audacity to turn around and sell this box for $1,200, the Steam machine that is, you could count me out. It's dead to me. Oh, hey, sorry, Rich and Post here. I had to put the hat back on for your sexual arousal. I forgot to mention this, and I'll mention it here real quick. Yeah, this is us going more so into the future. Another example of us going into a future where we will own absolutely nothing. We will have to rent everything, sign up for subscriptions with everything, even our compute power. And they're going to be like, hey, deal with it. Be happy. You could say that owning any device like this during any time at any price point is a luxury. You don't need this to survive. But it's gaming, and owning computers and owning technology is going to be a privilege only for the extremely wealthy. We're going in that direction. And I hope to God everyone wakes up and sees that. I don't know if you saw, I was really holding my hands in an awkward way. I was holding them like this while I was filming that. That's weird. Anyway, this is Rich of ReviewTechUSA now signing out. Just remember, they want us to own absolutely nothing so they can have their hands in our pockets forever. And the Steam Deck getting this insane price increase is more proof of that. And that Valve doesn't know how to negotiate stock and prices, and they're incompetent. It's proof of that as well. See ya.
Yeah, so final thoughts. Rich is kind of dancing around the core issue of this situation, that Valve is incompetent. They cannot produce hardware. They will never be able to produce hardware. Their business tactic of just putting out niche ways to play Steam, trying to break into the hardware market have always ended in failure. This is not a recent thing. They've been doing it forever. Like, all of their attempts at breaking into the hardware industry have completely failed. And we really do need to start talking more about what this means for the company and how tenuous their position actually is. Because when you really look at what they're doing and you really look at their history, like, they really are just a storefront. They don't produce games. They don't produce hardware. All they do is just sell old PlayStation and Xbox games onto their storefront to an audience that just worships them, right? They're more in competition with like GameStop or like traditional retailers than they are with like hardware or software manufacturers. They are basically GameStop. They run a store. They're not capable of handling these kind of business decisions. And that's why everybody involved was so blindsided by this decision. Like, the Steam Deck isn't even really their relevant thing. And yet, like, for the past 4 years, we've had to deal with people like trying to gaslight you into thinking this is going to be the big thing, or that it's selling well and that it's in competition with the Switch, or it's going to mark the end for the Switch's dominance over the industry, when that was never, ever, ever going to happen. Like, this thing sold less units than the Wii U. And it's just baffling to me how many people are just refusing to kind of acknowledge that and are just kind of blindly hyping up the next major hardware from Valve, the Steam machine. And we're seeing just how anxious they are to continue the illusion that Valve is like some amazing company. Like, even here, with like Rich crashing out about this, he won't admit the obvious, that the Switch 2 is the better console to own compared to all these alternatives. It has more games. It's more powerful. It's at a lower price point. Like, that's just the reality that he refuses to address. Even now, he's coping, regarding like all sorts of things. The Steam Machine's pricing, the Steam Deck sales numbers. Like, he's just refusing to admit what to normal people is very obvious, that the Nintendo Switch 2 is indeed far more popular and successful than the Steam Deck. And this should not be a controversial opinion. And yet, a lot of these tech YouTubers, a lot of these steampunks have made it into their entire online identities to defend Valve and to defend the Steam Deck. Even now, at this critical juncture where they have taken what is possibly their biggest L ever. It is downright disgusting to see it go so far. But the good news, the light at the end of the tunnel, is that the fact that Rich is crashing out as much as he is really demonstrates that he's well aware that there is something wrong. Like, we cannot go back to the way things were before, where people would tell you that Valve was the future and that Valve was the best name in gaming. It's not. It never was. It never will be. Valve will never, ever come even close to reaching Nintendo's relevance. My name is Harman Smith. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, check out my website, and buy my books, and I will see you all next time. Thank you.